Improvise, adapt, overcome. These are the best survival games to play on PC in 2021. Survival can come in many forms. It can be as simple as making sure you have enough berries to keep you going for another hour, to keeping an entire city warm and therefore alive, even if it doesn't stop them complaining. There are many brilliant games in the genre, and trying to cram them into a list of 10 was a challenge in itself, but we've put together some of our favourites to play this year, and welcome suggestions in the comments below. If you like what you see and want more, then subscribe to the Logitech G channel. But for now, here are the best survival games to play on PC in 2021.
Your probability of survival has just increased to unlikely, but plausible.
If you haven't played Valheim before, you might wonder why everyone is so desperate to get to Purgatory. Well, it turns out Viking survival is actually better than getting into Valhalla. It's a procedurally generated world of lush flowers and open seas waiting for you to explore, where wind rustles through the leaves and sunlight glistens on the surface of water. It's a place you want to build a home, and thanks to the huge selection of tools and freedom to create, you can build whatever you want. Really! You can even team up with friends, as Valheim has up to 10-player co-op. And of course, it wouldn't be on this list if it really was all tranquil boat rides. This is still a survival game at the well-crafted core. There are mythical creatures waiting in the trees. You need to keep your pantry stocked, and a change in the weather could mean your demise. But when you catch an early morning sunrise, it all feels worth it. Don't Starve is the most whimsical survival out there. It's like stepping foot into a beloved children's book only to discover someone has drawn terrifying faces over all the nice illustrations. It's about as helpful as if that actually happens too, as there are no instructions, many things want to kill you, and scrounging berries isn't going to keep you warm when winter comes. But after a few rounds of starving and starting over, you'll begin to work things out. Well, that and a few wiki searches. There's no right way to stay alive. You can be nomadic, chasing rabbits across the map, or settle down and plant a farm. Whatever keeps your sanity up, your hunger down, and your heart beating. There are also tons of DLC, so you can ditch the forests for tropical islands or team up with others to fend off beasts and set fires. You know, best friend stuff. Rust is textbook survival. Waking up naked on the beach with absolutely no idea what's going on or what to do, and then probably being shot down by another player's arrow before you can even find pants. And that's why we love it. Rust is tough. Just trying to get food and shelter is one thing, but throw in hostile players also competing for resources, and suddenly that precious rock you found seems like the most important thing you've ever owned. Once you do make your way off the sand though, you'll discover complex building and crafting, make settlements, forge weapons, play guitar. Look, we're having a great time. Right, guys? If you want the scariest sandbox you can imagine, this is very much like creating a castle in the park and a bully coming to knock it over. But you can always start over again and get that sweet, sweet revenge. Let's add a little horror to your survival with The Forest.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now crossing a zone of turbulence. Please return to your seats and keep your seatbelts fastened.
You play as the lone survivor of a plane crash and not only find yourself in the middle of nowhere, but also fending off against cannibal mutants who already call the trees home. Hey, what are the odds? It's great because it makes survival more than just bars of health to watch. The terror you feel without a fire, or weapon, or shelter is very real. You want to build and thrive because the other option is too horrifying. We never got used to seeing one of these beings pop up. They were just as terrifying the first time as they were the 10th time. You can huddle by the fire and try to survive just another hour, or you can build a vast stronghold and turn the forest into your kingdom, but neither is a guarantee of survival. This war of mine is unique in the genre of war games in that you're not on the battlefield taking on the enemy. Instead, you focus on the civilians left behind, stuck in crumbling buildings, scavenging for scraps. You can probably already tell it's a little different than some of the others on this list, but trust us, you'll still struggle to survive here. This war of mine is all about strategy. Making a one-off decision to build something over another could cost you lives down the line. Often, these can be moral choices as well. This old old couple wasn't happy we broke into their home, but if we don't get food, our friends at base might not make it. You balance your time with tasks during the day, such as crafting and meeting people, then journey out at night to find supplies and allies in abandoned buildings. It's a harsh world, but it means all the more when you do carve out a little piece of happiness. Carrying on with the strategy and management type of survival thanks to another 11-bit Studios game. Frostpunk is like SimCity in the apocalypse. A volcanic winter has hit Earth in an alternative 19th century, and it's your job to build the last habitable city.
It feels as yesterday we were turning the wheels of progress. Until the frost stopped it all.
It's a balancing act of keeping resources to feed and shelter people while pushing for evolution to create a better quality of life. All the while, the biting cold, ever decreasing in temperature, waits for a mistake. If you forget to keep enough coal for the generator, the whole city dies. Yeah, you won't be laying out flower beds and planting trees in Frostpunk. This is survival city building. And if you find the ever-brutal environment sparks your creativity, there are tons of DLCs to try different scenarios or discover what happened before the snow. Let's lead another city to ruin.
We knew the cost of our journey, and we paid the price.
Raft is survival on, well, a raft. You start out floating on an empty sea and must collect things that float by or visit islands to build up your resources to stay afloat, both figuratively and literally. The moment you get off, those sharks will have a feast. Luckily though, you can have a friend by your side to act as bait and make them shark chow while you stay safe. It may be scary at times, but you can create a paradise in Raft. Build and expand your vessel, start farming, decorate. There's even a storyline to follow which will keep you sailing forward even when you start to feel content. It's not as intense as some of the others on this list, so if you want your survival to mean occasional peace and happiness, then Raft is your choice for a breather. Before the shark attacks again. Great. If Frostpunk wasn't the survival management game for you, then there's got to be something in RimWorld to keep you fighting. Mainly because what can happen is so varied. Thanks to random generation, what goes down in a game of RimWorld is totally unpredictable. You need to keep your colony alive and hopefully build it up to thrive. But that's easier said than done when not only is the planet hostile, but your own people aren't getting along. Yes, affairs happen, internal politics get messy, and cannibalism is not a last resort. Whatever you think might happen on a lone space colony will probably happen in RimWorld. Oh, this? We're just harvesting some organs in the medical bay. What? The doctor was already poking around. It seemed like a good thing to do. Play a few games and you'll be making the same decision soon. Some survival games can be surprisingly welcoming. The calm ocean of Subnautica draws you in with colourful coral, sandy reefs to explore, and alien fish to meet. What's not to love? Oh, it wants to eat us. That's why we have the knife. After crash landing in an alien sea, you need to venture out into the dangerous waters to collect resources to survive, such as food.
Utilizing alien resources is a proven survival strategy.
As well as build up your base to get better tools, learn new blueprints, and maybe get back home.
New blueprint acquired.
You may be pretty busy with all that, but there's also a cross-universe story worthy of any sci-fi novel. As you uncover secrets of the sea, snippets of info will build a full picture. There's so much more than the big blue to explore, and each new discovery will feel like you're the first person to ever see it. Sometimes survival games are hard, and sometimes they're like being on the forefront of the future.
Those are not the orders the captain gave me, and they are not the orders I'm giving you.
This isn't chain of command, it's survival.
Many of the titles on this list allow you to bring a friend, but not The Long Dark. This is a journey you have to take alone. There are no fantasy elements, no futuristic tech. It is you, alone with the cold, at Mother Nature's will. There's a story mode where you have set goals, or a full-out survival adventure that leaves you to think for yourself. It was part of our Games That Don't Hold Your Hand list because you really need to fend for yourself in every sense.
This'll come in handy.
Survival is something you learn and earn. You won't be given a handy waypoint to guide you, just the snow coming down and food running out to push you on. At times, it can be beautiful, walking over a frozen lake, nothing but a few deer wandering by. But make sure you never get too comfortable.
I'm so cold. I just want to lie down for a bit.
So those are the best survival games you can play on PC in 2021. Let us know your favourites in the comments below, and if you enjoyed, give this video a like. For more videos like this one, subscribe to Logitech G. If you've already subscribed, thank you. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss another. Now, we're off to collect some resources. We'll see you in the next one.
This stuff will come in handy.